Good afternoon. Maybe we just wait for a few people to join us. Before we can make some remarks. We have two urgent remarks to make. Let's quickly wait for a few people to join us. Share that button. We have a few comments to make about latest developments. Just share the button. I'm still outside the country. I'll be back on Monday, but there are some urgent matters that we need to comment on. I'm urging you to share the button, so that we can quickly make our views on these two developing matters. Thank you very much for all those joining us. Share the button. Share the button. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have two major developments that we want to speak to that have just occurred and cannot wait. Let's come on board and see how we can quickly join and share so that we speak to these urgent matters. Thank you very much. I think we have a few people that have joined us and we can proceed to make our remarks. I wish to apologize once again. I'm outside the country, but I'll be back on Monday, at which we will deal with the leadership comprehensively, the event occurring in the Patriotic Front. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all those that have joined us by, through social media and on all various pages. There's been a very sad development this afternoon. Former President, Zambia's sixth President, Dr. Edgar Lungu, was scheduled to fly to South Korea with his spouse, the former First Lady, Mama Esther Lungu. Zambians will remember that even last year, the Lungus were invited to this peace conference that takes place annually. The former President, Dr. Edgar Lungu, was among other former heads of states and other world leaders that have been invited to this conference that is expected to take place in Seoul, South Korea, beginning on Monday. President Edgar Lungu went to the airport. He was flying through Addis Ababa aboard Ethiopian Airlines, and he presented himself to the airport authority. They cleared his passports, they cleared his immigration, and boarded his luggage. And shortly before the flight could take off, the protocol officer came to apologize to the former president that government had cancelled his trip to South Korea, and he couldn't give any reason. He's just a junior protocol officer, and he apologized that they will see how they could retrieve the bags and how they could cancel his flight. So literally, the former president was ejected from the flight because he was already boarded in, his bags had already been cleared, he had already been done immigration formalities and clearance, and his trip was cancelled at the last minute. His trip to South Korea, he's been invited for a World Peace Conference. He's not the only one. There are other former heads of states that have also been invited. And the actions by government are very, very saddening. The former president has his passport. He doesn't have a court case. His passport is not being withheld by any authority. Remember, just last week, they stopped him from traveling for his medicals. For the medical trips under the former President's Benefits Act of 1993, government is obliged to pay for his medicals in his capacity as a former president. In that, on that trip, the Deputy Secretary to Cabinet, Dr. Oliver Kalabo, wrote a letter to the former president regretting that government has declined his request to go for medical trips, for his scheduled medical review. The former president had gone for his medical review last year, and this was another scheduled trip. The action by government are illegal, they are unconstitutional, they are oppressive in nature. there is no justification to stop the former president from traveling. Remember what they nearly did to myself as Emmanuel Mwamba and Honorable Dr. Fred Membe when we were traveling to Harare in an entourage of 22 people that included the former president. They tried to stop me and to stop Fred Membe from traveling without cause or justification. Our lawyers had to make a lot of noise, threaten to sue those officers, immigration officers, in their personal capacity. That's how they allowed us to travel. Another one of our senior leaders again was delayed from travel just the other day. I wrote about it. These actions to stop the former presidents are regrettable. I don't know what State House and President Hakainde Hichilema is thinking in trying to literally, be dictatorial at all cost. Why would you stop the former president from traveling to South Korea? You have not bought the ticket. You have not invited him. It's not at government expense. This is at organization's expense. The people that invited the former president, like they invite other former presidents in the region, are the ones that have paid for this entire trip. What's the justification for government to cancel a trip that they didn't organize, to cancel a trip that they are not part of? What restrictions is former President Edgar Lungu facing? Why are you stopping him from travel? What is the justification? Why would you trample on his constitutional right just like that? And like everybody says, the harassment and victimization that President Hakainde Hichilema received while he was in opposition, people thought he would never use power to revenge, to exact vengeance, to attempt, to do the very thing that he went through. And he himself, committed himself and pronounced that he will not allow anyone to stay in police cells more than 24 hours, and he will allow freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom of assembly, and freedom of association. And those are the things he has immediately gone for. People now are being stopped from making travels. People now can't be assembled, like our rallies have been cancelled repeatedly. People are now being muzzled to speak. They can't express themselves. They are afraid that the Cyber Crimes and Cyber Security Act will be unleashed on them, and they'll be told that their speech was hate speech, and they'll be locked up for many days, like many opposition leaders have been locked up of late. So we wish to condemn in the strongest terms these attempts by State House to stop the former president from traveling. We hope that they can allow him to travel maybe tomorrow, and we demand a proper explanation for these unconstitutional actions that the State House and government have done through the immigration, where you can cancel a legitimate trip organized by, people that respect the former president, that have invited him as a guest speaker to this world conference to discuss peace. You use these means to stop him from travel. He's not traveling anywhere. He's traveling to a peace conference. Why are you stopping peace? Why are you stopping a man that wants to go and discuss peace in Zambia and peace in the region? What is a justification to just stop someone from traveling? I think these are the strongest condemnation that we can give. The actions are illegal. We have a small update over the occurrences yesterday that occurred at the party secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, you are aware that we have Honorable Mal Sampa, who stormed the secretariat, who stoned the secretariat. They destroyed property at the secretariat and conducted illegal meetings. We just want to give a quick update on that. We wish first to thank Honorable Christopher Shakafuswa, member of Central Committee and chair for Lusaka Province. He immediately went to the secretariat. He has warned any youth in Lusaka or any leader that is involved in the rogue actions, in the illegal actions and the lawlessness displayed by Mr. Mao Sampa, that they'll be punished alongside Honorable Mao Sampa. So the youths, we are appealing to you, do not be used. Do not participate in illegalities. Do not participate in these violent activities that we saw. Do not participate in the malicious damage that occurred at the Secretariat. It will not go unpunished. We wrote a letter to the Inspector General of Police and we've reported the matter to the Lusaka Central Police for them to pursue these crimes of malicious damage, trespass, and just a criminality of what occurred yesterday. The police in our country should not take sides. They should not allow people to break the law, break the constitution and break the law with impunity as we saw yesterday. We will not allow that to occur. We appeal to the police to take action. They have a formal complaint before them of malicious damage, of criminal trespass, and just the illegalities that occurred at the party secretariat. And we have asked the police to take this action. The party on its side is convening an urgent central committee. I think a date to be communicated to our senior leaders. They need notice, and we will deal with this misconduct and illegalities. We will pursue both administrative and criminal processes to deal with the misconduct that occurred at the party secretariat yesterday. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think those were our two briefs regarding the occurrence this afternoon where they've stopped the former president, Zambia's sixth president, from traveling to South Korea, South Korea via Addis Ababa. They ejected the former president. They ejected him from the plane. They've literally ejected the former president without cause, without justification. Then we're giving you an update on what occurred at the party secretariat yesterday. We are pursuing both criminal and administrative processes to address the issues. For the criminal damage that was done to the party secretariat, we've reported these matters to the police. And for administrative actions arising from the indiscipline and misconduct that was displayed at the party secretariat, we will deal with the matter. The Central Committee will deal with the matter. There's another matter, I think, related to this. Honorable Chimbaka, some malicious people, especially these rogue pages run by State House Causeway and others, reported that Honorable Chimbaka went to the party secretariat today and, and made some remarks. Treat that as false news. The pictures they are using is an old picture when Honorable Dr. Chimbaka went to file his nominations, like all of us, the 8 went to file our nominations for presidency. That picture is old. I have spoken to Honorable Chimbaka because as soon as I saw the story, I remembered that that crowd gathered around him when he was filing nominations. So please disregard that story around Dr. Chimbaka. He has in fact issued an audio. He has issued an audio to condemn the actions that occurred yesterday. He has condemned the thuggery that occurred yesterday, and he has called for discipline in the party. And he has said there are established civil means in which to address any concerns in our party. And for generally our members, please note that Zambians are looking at us. Remember, they branded the PF as a party of thugs, a party of violent cadres, a party of lawlessness. And in our quest to rebrand, we don't want to fall into that pit. And that is why the actions by Honorable Mausam, I think he has literally doomed his political career by doing things Zambians have condemned. Zambians want peace. Zambians want civil ways and civil mechanisms. They don't want the disruption which occurred yesterday, where stones were thrown and even Lumumba Road was disrupted. Zambians don't want that. They condemned that. Whichever well-meaning party member should recognize that one of the reasons the Patriotic Front lost power was such conduct, where people were trying to resolve issues using unlawful means, using violent means, and using young people who are just innocent. You lay them into the path of harm by doing wrong things. Zambians have rejected those kind of politics, and let's not fall into those traps. To rebrand, to rebuild, to regroup, to come together as members of the party, to regain confidence from the Zambians will take a long time. They have to see repentance in us. They have to see that we have departed from our old ways. They have to see that we are now engaged in the new political processes and political dispensation. The activities by Honorable Mao Sampa, which are actually sponsored, we have evidence that is actually being sponsored by the people around him, they told us. And to attempt to destroy the PF, because we hear that they want to do what Zimbabwe did, where they created various factions of the MDC. We are led to those machinations, those sponsorship coming from the state. We are aware that they want to use some of our members, including Honorable Mao Sampa. We will not allow the party to be destroyed. No senior member, no ordinary member want the PF to be destroyed. Everyone is determined to see that the PF rises from the crisis it had in 2021. It rebrands, it rebuilds itself, and presents itself to win confidence, to restore trust that it had with Zambians that was lost in 2021. So the machinations, the ugly things we saw yesterday will not be repeated, and no leader in PF will allow that the party loses the work it has done. Honorable Given Lubinda has announced that we are holding mass rallies across the country, that we've applied for the police to give us those, we've pushed in notices for the police to give us space for us to hold those mass rallies on the Copper Belt, in Central Province, and in Lusaka. We are also preparing for the Constitutional Conference. The Constitutional Conference will go ahead as scheduled, and even the General Conference will go ahead as planned, and the Central Committee will be deliberating on all these issues. The item regarding the appointments that were done recently is just one item, and as a leadership we are determined that the party programs should not suffer. We should proceed with the preparations to hold our mass rallies that we have determined, to hold the 2 constitutional conferences that we have planned, to remobilize and reorganize ourselves and meet Zambians. For us, the biggest stakeholders is Zambians, are the ones we are looking for, that we have a solution to present to them, to the malaise, difficulties, high cost of living that they are going through. So with those few remarks, I'd like to thank you for listening to us, and let us speak against these evils that are rising, where people are being, freedoms and rights are being taken away with impunity. Freedom to express ourselves, freedom to travel, freedom of movement, freedom of association. Why would we allow, we fought these matters in 1990. Why would we allow anyone to take away these freedoms, including President Hakainde Hichilema should not be allowed to take away these freedoms. God bless you, God bless our country, God bless our party, and see you then. Thank you very much.